play of Dak Prescott. They look to continue their momentum from last week's thrilling win against the Giants as they get set to take on the Bears in Chicago in an interesting game Sunday. Troy Aikman's been watching Dak play. Here's what he thinks.
I have been impressed with Dak, certainly week one and what he was able to do. And then this last game, he just, he's always had good energy. He's always had good, body language and all that on the field. But in addition to just how well he's played, I just sense that there's a confidence about him in the way in which he's playing that I don't want to say I haven't seen it before, but I just feel like he's really dialed in.
Dak Prescott's an interesting player. When you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, everything you do is so micro-scrutinized that I think sometimes we overlook the obvious. Like, when he's healthy, he plays great and they win. When last seen healthy for an entire season, he was the runner-up for MVP. He's playing great again.
And arguably, this is the best weapons he's ever had. And I think the difference is he has an established running back that when he first got in this league, we had a lot of respect for in Denver that kind of fell out of favor. But,
Javonte Williams.
But also now he has, an answer when you can't, when you double CeeDee Lamb and take him away. Pickens showed up a little bit. He still has to mature. And but Ferguson, he's able to really move the ball. This isn't a typical brand new head coach, right? Remember, Sharpe was the coordinator, so he doesn't have to learn a new offense. So
right.
It's more nuanced than that. He can get into the minutia, the minute details of growing the package because he was in the same system last year.
So the biggest thing for me when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys is their run game. If you go back to 2024, 5 of the 7 teams that made the playoffs in the NFC, they were top 6 in rushing. You can't be one-dimensional in this league. You have to be balanced. The Dallas Cowboys right now currently, they're 11th in rushing. Javonte Williams has really altered things, but also the mindset coming into the season. Hey, we're not just going to throw the football around. We're going to establish the run. We want to push people around, investing into that offensive line. That was their first-round draft pick this year in the 2025 NFL Draft. The run game is making things drastically different, in my opinion, for the Dallas Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott, from my eyes, he's going to play lights-out football. But now you add another dimension to that offense, and the offense of the Dallas Cowboys are scarier.
Yeah, I think it's George Pickens because when you're trying to build a team, it's hard to get 2 corners that are physical enough to match up with CeeDee Lamb. And now on the other side, George Pickens, who has 13 career touchdowns. Look at that catching radius. That was CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
But in the red zone, again, he's already scored a touchdown, but he's created a lot of good matchups for Jake Ferguson as well. So when we talk about Dak playing well, like this play right here, they couldn't do that a year ago. That's why I think Pickens, more than Williams, has been so impactful.
Fascinating game. We've seen the stat all week long that the 2 players who've been the NFC Offensive Player of the Week have both played against the Bears. So does that mean that Dak Prescott's going to do that as well? There's another interesting storyline in this game. We've had a lot of revenge games, and here comes another.
Yeah, last week it was all about Ben Johnson going back in Detroit. How about Matt Eberflus going into Chicago? Eberflus so unceremoniously fired, and really a punchline in Chicago this whole offseason and how much better Caleb's going to be now that he's finally got a real coaching staff. Eberflus has been the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys in 2 weeks, and they've been lit up in 2 games. I could see Matt Eberflus having a different kind of approach to this game, going up against his former team, and the owners in the front office that blamed him for last year's ineptitude and firing him. I will note this. In his presser, Brian Schottenheimer said there's nothing he would love more than to win that game and to give the game ball to Flus after the game. Not Dak, let's give it to the defensive coordinator who's going to have something ready for Caleb Williams.
That's motivation.
Win one for the Flus.
Yeah, we always have that type of protection. Like when you go there, whether it be the Harry Bowl or the TB Bowl or the Rex Bowl, we always had that. That's just the extra juice. That's the mind tricks of head coaches. So don't fall for that.
But they want to look. You're going to make a bold prediction later this morning about this game. And we're going to get a prediction on the total in a minute here. Without giving away the whole thing, are you expecting fireworks?
Historic fireworks. And neither side, are the old Rick Ryan Greeny, are the punters even going to be active? Like, this is just 4-down football up and down the field. The big X factor to me is Caleb Williams and what he does. And, we have a tape to show here.
What are you seeing? What have you seen in Caleb?
When he holds the ball, Greeny, he really struggles. This is an unbelievable statistic. Since he's been in the NFL, this is from Hembo, they are 1-7 when he holds the ball for 3 seconds or longer. Now look, here's a play against Detroit. Not there, throw it away, run. He's holding the ball, and he makes really bad decisions later in the down. This ball should have been picked off. You can't hold the ball against NFL defenders for 8 seconds. Here's another play. Again, 1 in 7 when he averages 3 seconds or longer. Play's not there, Greedy. His fundamentals break down, and he makes terrible decisions. This is an interception. If you want to be a great quarterback in the NFL, you cannot do that.
This is a work in progress, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's 2 weeks in, Caleb Williams in this offense with Ben Johnson. Are you encouraged by what you've seen from it so far?
So far, yes. Like, he's going to have bumps in the road, and for everyone
Bumps?
who's saying
That's a boulder.
But here's the thing, Mike T. You're
The
talking
New
about a
York
guy
City
who's had
pothole.
3 play callers in 2 years, 2 head coaches. Strip everything that you've learned about the game of football from the quarterback position before getting with Ben Johnson. So you're going to have those moments. When you try to get an alcoholic to stop drinking, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're looking for a little more motivation for the Bears right now, we're just putting it up on the screen. We all like the Cowboys in this game. We'll see what winds up happening. Meanwhile, we'll do an entire more or less based on this game as well. Get me Mr. Fortenbaugh back here. It's brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Let's start with Dak Prescott's total, 4.5 passing yards. Joey going more or less?
More. Prescott's been in the league since 2016. His career passing average is about 258 yards per game. So we're really not asking him to do a lot more here. Look at the banged up nature of the Chicago defense. Look at how they've been shredded throughout. Chicago will keep it competitive, which means Dallas will throw for 4 quarters, which means we'll go over the total here.
Okay, and then how about on the other side then? If the Bears are going to keep it competitive, is Caleb Williams going to throw for more than 1.5 passing touchdowns?
This is also a more. The analysis lies in a different quarterback, Russell Wilson, who's been in the league since 2012 and played 218 career games. Last week's game against this Dallas defense was the best passing game of his entire career. That concludes my analysis.
Okay, fair enough. And then finally, Mike T just touched on it. The total in this one is huge, 50.5. Which way do we go?
More, but it feels so easy. It's starting to worry me. I do think Chicago will be able to run the ball early in this game, and if they do, they can grind the clock and keep Dallas off the field, which might give us a better opportunity to bet in game and go over. But the reality is, I still think we soar over the total, so more.
All right, if you agree with Joe's picks, we've made them into a parlay for Cowboys-Bears. You can parlay them and find them on ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. And look for the more or less featured parlay on the homepage and in the parlay. Wow.
So much for the Eberflus revenge.
The Giants pull the upset on Sunday night.
I'm going to go 25% because my son loves quarters, Greeny. He's 6 years old.
Okay.
But the reason why I'm picking this team in this matchup also is because of their defensive line. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and also Abdul Carter. I do know when it comes to Steve Spagnuolo, he loves to send the blitz. Well, that blitz hasn't gotten home so much this season. And watching Malik Neighbors, no one on the Chiefs secondary can guard him. And Wan'Dale Robinson has been phenomenal as well, too.
We've spent a lot of time this week talking about what's wrong in Kansas City. And the offense, it looks unimaginative. It looks slow.
Old.
It looks old. Overwhelmingly, its best play has been Patrick Mahomes running around and trying to make something happen. He's been their leading rusher in both games. What is the read on Kansas City's offense, Peter?
That they have no spark and that everything you're saying is accurate. And even the most fervent Chiefs fan would say this is not the Chiefs of old. It's certainly not the Chiefs of the Tyreek era, but it isn't even the Chiefs of last year. And what's really alarming is none of those wide receivers have stepped up with Rice and Worthy out. So Juju and Thornton, all these names we were told are going to have to elevate their games, they haven't been able to do anything. But the more alarming part, the running game. Yes, the numbers look like they've been running the ball well. That's because Patrick Mahomes has been running the ball well. Nothing out of Isaiah Pacheco, nothing out of Kareem Hunt. If you don't have a running game and you don't have a passing game, it's going to be hard to compete with the Ravens and the Bills this season.
Right, but this week they have to compete with the Giants. And
Right.
look, the Giants got lit up by Dak and company last week. Bart, you host a talk show in New York, so you know this team well. How do you see this matchup?
I mean, I'm waiting for this dominant Giants defense to finally step up and play that way. Like, they were able to get 3 sacks last week, but they've been giving up a bunch of points all season. This is a get-right game. You know, Russell
For
Wilson.
Kansas City?
No, for both teams, right? I mean, if this is over with, then we might be starting the Jackson Dart era, pretty soon, 2 more weeks before they get to the Saints.
Even though Russell threw for whatever it was, 450.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're going to continue losing, then what's the point?
Right.
The only way that Dayball saved his job is if Jackson Dart is a good football player.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the Kansas City Chiefs just remind me of our teams when we just went to so many games. Patrick Mahomes has probably played an entire extra season going to the AFC Championship every year. They look like a tired team. Now you got to.
Bye.